We've got summer on the horizon here in the Northern Hemisphere. Summer camping, summer barbecues, hiking, getting outside, but that also means lots of migraine triggers like sun, sunshine, heat, exertion. So here today, I've come in my outdoor gear to talk about how to manage the being outdoors more when you have migraine and why this is actually a good thing. So hey everybody, this is Adrienne with Yoga for Migraine, and summer is here. My kids are out of school. I don't know about yours, but it is one of those busy, hot times coming up, and summer's been typically my hardest migraine season. Heat and light, heat primarily are one of my bigger triggers. So we want you to get outside. This is a good thing for your health. And there's a lot more things like bringing us out at this time of year that we want to be a part of. If you've had trouble getting outside, living with migraine, drop it in the comments. What's going on for you? What has been the holdup? It's different for everybody. And love to hear from you if you're joining live. Where are you from? Say hello in the comments, and if you're joining on the replay, you can write hashtag replay. These all help boost our algorithm to get more people to see this. So every Wednesday I come here at 2 o'clock Eastern to either share a yoga class or a talk or an interview about something to help you live better with migraine. So let's talk about how to get outside more living with migraine. Migraine can easily bring us into vampire mode where we are in the dark. This is my vampire cape. We are in the dark, we are alone, we are inside, and this is not a long-term good thing for ourselves, for our mood, for our mental health, for our migraine actually. So this is why it is important for us to get outside more, not just for migraine, but for a host of other health reasons. Having a connection to nature, to the cycles of sunshine, of light, these help us regulate our bodies better, so that when you are exposed to the sunlight, this is getting our circadian rhythms more regulated. This is helping you to sleep more easily, that when the sun goes down, even though it's later at this time of year, your body's own internal clock is also connected to the natural rhythms of nature. This is a good thing. So many people with migraine also deal with insomnia, with sleep issues, with having challenges falling asleep or waking up. And so getting outside helps with sleep, and that is a good thing. Other ways it helps is that nature can be soothing for us. So I'm going to kind of tell you all the good things, but I'm also going to share yes, but it's hard because I'm triggered by the light, and we'll get there. But long-term, bigger picture, being outside is soothing for our brains. We come from being outdoors, right? Being inside in houses and air conditioning is a fairly recent phenomenon for us humans. And so being outside, literally being in green space with plants and trees and forests, this has also been shown to decrease pain and decrease migraine symptoms, hence green light therapy. That is how it was discovered. The researcher noticed that I believe it was his brother who also lived with migraine, would go out to the garden when he was in pain, and this actually had a biological, physiological impact on his migraine symptoms. And that's why we've got companies now like LA Lamp and Norb that create specific green light that can help. So fresh air, like getting outside of your little bubble, your little migraine vampire den is good, because when we are isolated, when we are cut off from I'm moving over here, that's my window. When we are cut off by the cycles of nature, by birds, by wind, like this is limiting our connection to life itself. And that sounds kind of heavy, but truly, like this is why it's a good thing. The more connected we feel, whether it's to people, to nature, to spirit, to whatever your belief system is of something bigger than yourself, the better you feel, the more happy you are, the better your health is. So we're going big picture here. Connecting to the outdoors, being outside helps you feel connected in many, many forms. And the more that you're able to be outside, the more you're able to do things that you want to do that require you being outside. So usually, right, people are outside, like you are perhaps socializing, perhaps you're enjoying time with friends and family, you're going to the beach, like these are all things that people like to do. And so you want to be able to fully live a full life to help you get out of your migraine bubble and live again, so that migraine doesn't limit what you can do in life. And then from more of a yoga perspective, the cycles of nature are filled with prana, with life force. And so we can often fall into different aspects of dis-ease when our inner prana and life force are not flowing in a way that is helpful, when it feels stagnant. And so the elements of nature, when we can be a part of that, we're just kind of feeling more alive. And I'm sure you felt this just on a visceral level at times in your life when you've been outside and you just feel energized. You feel like you can have a change of perspective. You can feel more connected. You can feel more at peace. So these are all good things in any chronic pain management system. Getting outside is one of the goals. This is a thing we want you to be able to do in your life. I hope that makes sense while I'm putting in a plug for being outside and getting there. Now we're going to talk about why it is challenging living with migraine to be outside perhaps as much as we would like. So-called migraine triggers, right? And can be so many outdoors. Sun, heat, you're maybe more active, perhaps you're socializing more, and that can make you feel more tired or anxious. Maybe there's other smells. You're kind of out of your comfort zone. Maybe you don't have all your migraine comforts that you're used to. So it makes sense that this can be an uncomfortable place to be, to get out, and why people tend to avoid the outdoors more, including myself. Like before migraine, had a much higher tolerance for being outdoors and being active, and I definitely had to adjust things as migraine has developed in my life. To go back to, what happens when our pain becomes more chronic, for most of us, when we experience migraine, right, this is the time when we tend to seclude. We go to our dark room. We are by ourselves. And this can be absolutely something we need to do, like short term. It's when this becomes a pattern and like a way of being ongoing that is limiting us from being out in the world. This is where that balance starts to tip into something that we need to reverse. And that's not easy to do. Because the less we are outside, the more sensitive we actually become to doing it again. So that's why avoidance and seclusion, going into your migraine vampire mode, is actually in the long term like perpetuating the symptoms, because we are actually becoming more sensitized, and it makes it harder to go out. So what do? Like, I've been in vampire indoor mode. Like, how do I start to get outside again without then the symptoms increasing, right? So that's what I'm here to talk to you about. The name of the game is graded exposure. Baby steps, little by little, exposing yourself daily to getting outside. And with that, I've got lots of helpful tools that I'm going to show off as well. So the main idea is that if you, starting from where you are, you might never go outside. That's many people in our modern era don't go outside, especially when you live with chronic pain, right? So let's say you're starting there. No shame. I've worked and talked with many people like this, and that's okay. You are not alone. So step one, and I've done this with a few clients, is just sitting outside. Maybe you've got a porch or a little balcony, sitting outside for 2 minutes with anything that feels protective. So maybe this is a good time for show and tell. I always go outside with a hat. If you see any pictures of me, in real life, I am wearing a hat. And I got a new one that I like very much. And sunglasses. So these are Axon Optics sunglasses, particularly for outdoors. And before I hopped on here, I was looking for, Pam, heat is hard. I've got some tips on heat. I was looking for the link to share this, but I know Axon Optics and Avalux kind of combined forces, and I could not find the same outdoor migraine sunglasses that I have here. So I don't know if they still make them, but I did put it in the description for Axon Optics, because they make great indoor migraine glasses too. But I did get these particularly for like glare outside to help with migraine. So this is my standard uniform going outside always. So what other comfort items might you have when going out? This is not wet, but this is a Frog Tog little cooling towel. And in the heat of the summer, this is something that you get wet and it just kind of retains the water and it softens. I didn't want to get all wet right now, but this is another thing that I'll tie around my neck and will keep me cool in the heat of the summer. And this is a new toy that I'm very excited about. Headache hat, one of my favorite headache ice contraption companies, created this really cool baseball cap that you can have that comes with this ice cap. So this is like ice cold. You put it in your freezer. So here we go. So this is super cold, and then you can just put your cap on top and nobody can really tell that you're wearing an ice cap, right? It's like pretty hidden there. So that can offer you like a little bit of cooling, especially if you're just getting used to going out. You know, if it's like the seasons are changing, you don't have your resilience yet to the heat. So I will put it in the chat again because I have a little coupon code. Yeah, we got another plug for Axon Optics. So headache hat, this is like a 20% discount if you use this link. And it's like maybe $25, and they've got great, it's like so cooling already. Great headache ice gear. So this is a great find, or even just lovely. Just wearing your ice pack outside on your head if you've got other ones. Like using the migraine tools you have to help you ease into this summer, especially at the beginning of summer, like perhaps you're not totally used to the heat and the sun yet. And then a couple other show and tell items that are a must for me. So this kind of has this interesting parallel with migraine. I also have a very odd skin condition called polymorphic light eruption. If you have this too, I've never met anyone else, but basically it means I am allergic to the sun. Like literally my skin breaks out in a rash from the sun, and it's very frustrating. So I have to really watch my sun exposure, but I feel like this is helpful too for people living with migraine. This is a UPF 50 plus like clothing. So this is by Coolabar, and I typically always to wear some kind of sun protection. So I've got all the things. Here's my, if you see me out on the street in the summer, I probably look something like this. Oh wait, wrong glasses. and yeah, I have all the things. I even have a little portable fan, which I forgot to bring, that has like a water spray. So I took that camping last year and everybody wanted to use it because it was so awesome and it was so hot. And of course, obvious water, always bring that with me. Even if I'm just running errands in my car, I bring water. And then I wanted to show off one of my favorite snacks, crunchy chickpeas. So we've got like some protein, a little bit of salt. So that's my show and tell. And so you're gonna bring all your goodies when you go out. Like, it's not like you just abandon all caution and go for an 8-hour hike without sunglasses or a hat or at all if you have been indoors for most of your existence. You need to do this just like you're training for a marathon in a graded, slow, baby step fashion. And for many people, that is literally sitting outside with all your gear, hat and sunglasses, for 2 minutes a day. Then, okay, that seems doable, and it's nice. That's a nice thing to do. Like, maybe you have your tea out there, and you're in the shade. Yes, in the shade. Then, the next week, maybe you double that, and you just sit out there. Now you're outside every day for 4 minutes. And, like, you're seeing, hey, this is kind of enjoyable. I'm feeling okay. I'm not feeling triggered. Then maybe you walk to the end of the block and you come back. And it sounds kind of ridiculous and like, oh my gosh, would I ever make progress like this? But that is how to do this. This is how to get outside more. Bit by bit, every week, just adding a little bit more. It kind of relates to my weird skin condition, polymorphic light eruption, in which at the beginning of, the season of like you're getting out in the summer, like if I were to just go out, I would just get crazy rash if I was out for hours. And literally one of the treatments is, quote, hardening your skin, where you do expose yourself a little bit to the UV radiation. That's what causes it. And there's even like treatment centers where you can do that. But often, at the beginning, I might have a bigger flare. When I went to Mexico last year, I went from like winter here in Boise to, major UV radiation at the equator, and my symptoms went crazy because I just went from 0 to, 60. So don't do that. You've got to like ease into it. You've got to like kind of increase your tolerance bit by exposure. Graded exposure a little bit. And then if you're walking down the block every day, then the next week you walk to the block and back, then you're going to walk around the block and you take all your things that make you feel safe, and maybe you take someone with you. So if you fall or you feel dizzy or it's too much, you have someone with you. And as you do that, you build your confidence. You really are teaching your brain that this is safe. And this is magic because it only builds from there, so that as you do this in your life, like, you're increasing your capacity to live fully. You are decreasing like your hypersensitivity to whatever is a migraine trigger for you. But you can't just like go out there and pretend you don't have these triggers, right? This is not like a fully like just in your head, you just got to think your way out of this. Like, no, you can use these tools. You can use your like thoughts to, see how what your anxiety level is about the triggers, because that can be a huge thing. The more anxiety we have about the heat, and we're preoccupied, and we're like, before we even get outside, we're like worried and our stress level's high. Yeah, that can increase our symptoms. But if we can start going out there a little bit, reminding yourself you're safe, reminding yourself like, I have all the things I need to feel safe, and that I can do this a little bit at a time, that this is a practice for your brain that you can teach to your brain. Am I 100% like trigger free? No, heat is still a tough one for me. And wherever you are in the season and whatever you're doing, it's going to impact you and how much you've kind of trained for that. You've trained your body. I train my skin to be okay with UV radiation, as the season progresses. So by the end of the summer, for most of us, we can tolerate way more heat than we did at the beginning of the season. And our triggers are similar. But I want you to go into it. If you have something that, maybe you're going to go camping. I've had great experiences camping with migraine and horrible ones. Last summer, I had to leave a huge family camping trip early because of migraine. And it was totally embarrassing and disappointing. But it was because it was nearly 100 degrees and there was no water source or anything cooling. And it was pretty miserable. And so you want to set yourself up for success too. If you are going to do camping, keep it short, test it out. Can you do something in the backyard first? Can you do something near water? Find ways to make this more successful. That doesn't mean you have to avoid it 100%. You are setting up the conditions to make this successful. You're training up to that. You're getting outside a little bit each day before that happens. And you're bringing things that will help you stay cool, like your cooling scarf. Maybe these are just comfort measures, but maybe this is also biologically, physiologically helping you to stay cool, helping you to have less of a migraine trigger. So I've rambled a lot. Let me see if there's some other questions. If you guys have anything else that you've learned that you want to start trying to help you get outside more, anything you remember about why this is an important thing, why it's good for me to get out more, to be outside, for your overall health and happiness, for your sleep, for your connection to nature, for your chronic pain. Getting outside is something you want to work towards. It's something you kind of train yourself going forward. Just like you're going to train yourself for a marathon, you've got to start with just a few steps. Take a few minutes to sit outside. Increase that the week after. Maybe you start walking outside. If you're not at ground zero like that, then you're going to adjust it from where you are. Maybe you are able to go for a 20-minute walk outside, but it might not happen at every temperature or seasonal level. If it's 100 degrees, I won't take a walk outside then. I'm going to wait for the morning or evening. I'm going to find the shady spots as I build my tolerance up and I build up my tolerance and I decrease my fear around it. Like you're increasing your confidence that I can handle this. And it's like a kind of a psychological tolerance, and I do think a physiological one, like because your nervous system is just become so sensitized. It does take some time, and you just don't want to overdo it and go full out, holiday barbecue if you've never been out. And then you feel it, and then it flares, and then you're indoors more, right? We want to ease you into it. So I hope you get a little bit outside, bit by bit this summer, and do it in a way that feels fun, that feels safe for you. Know that what you do outside might not be what everybody else does, and that's okay. That was a hard lesson for me last summer when I had to leave my camping trip early. Like, how am I the only person here out of 20 people that literally can't take the heat? And it was emotional and it was hard. And you want to put yourself in situations where you do have an out, that you can adjust, that maybe everyone else is going on a 5-hour hike and maybe you join them for the first 30 minutes and you get a taste for it, and then you take care of yourself. So hope this was helpful. I hope you are excited to get out a little bit more this summer. Thank you so much, Catherine, for your comments. Yeah, check out Headache Hat. They're amazing. And stay well this summer, and we'll see you next time. Lots of love.